Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 287. I'm Andrew Eisen. Nice to meet you. Imagine, if you will, you're playing, say, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, and you're wandering around the Great Plateau. And you notice that every single tree on the Great Plateau looks exactly the same. Huh. Well, I mean, it's a one biome, so I guess it's not too terribly out of place that every single tree on the entire Great Plateau would look exactly the same. A little dull. A little boring, but you know, let's keep exploring the vast expanse of Hyrule and see what tree-y delights are in store. So you hop off the Great Plateau and you die. Then you get the hang glider and you hang glide off the Great Plateau, like you should have done in the first place. Hello, Lee. Are you going to learn to program? I don't know. I'm learning a different language, but I'll talk about that later. So you hop off the Great Plateau. Same trees. And as you explore the wonderful expanse of Hyrule, you start noticing that everywhere you go, same damn trees. Apparently, there's only one type of tree. You go to the swamp, same trees. You go to the open fields of Hyrule, where the castle is, same trees. You go to the desert expecting like cacti or something. Nope, same trees. You go to the where the Gorons live, up on Death Mountain on a volcano. You're thinking, oh, these are going to be toasty trees. Nope, same trees. You go to the Lost Woods, where you might think there'd be those big spooky trees. Nope, same trees. The frozen wilds of Mount Lanayru. Pine trees? No, same trees. Everywhere you go, same damn trees. Huh. Well, that was unimaginative. Now, does it hurt the game? Does it make the game play any worse that every single tree is exactly the same? No. Does it harm the experience? A bit. It's a little visually uninteresting. I think it might have reflected reality a bit more if there were, say, some diversity in the trees. Because you look around outside, you don't have to go to a different biome to see different trees. We got all kinds of different trees. We've got eucalyptus and other trees. So, and hey, you know what? You remember, what was his name? Jeff Kaplan? Who is the guy who used to be directing Overwatch? He agrees with me. Remember when they were trying to get, what's her name? Sojourn into Overwatch, and it like took them years. And like, no, we can't put her in because her story needs to fit the story of Overwatch, so maybe she'll be in the sequel. He said the real value, and a lot of people were like, you have no black women in the game, so this would be great. And he's like, yeah, but story. It's like, yeah, okay. We have a very diverse cast. And it's true. Perfect? No. But diverse? Yes. So Kaplan said at the time, a couple years ago, he said, the real value of Overwatch inclusivity is the idea that we're open-minded. That we want everybody to feel welcome into the universe. And the result of that is diversity. I would hate for the diversity to ever feel like pandering. Like we just had this spreadsheet with a bunch of checkboxes. That's what Kaplan said 2 years ago. About 2 days ago, Activision Blizzard boasted about the diversity space method that it's been implementing internally in a bunch of its studios on its blog, and was very happy to tell us all about this. Oh, they were so proud of this. Big old blog post, lots of pictures. And The idea is to use this particular diversity space method tool in order to ensure that your game is appropriately diverse. Now, you might look at this this thing and think, well, that's well, number one, that's a bit reductive. Number two, surely maybe the better option would be to, I don't know, like talk to a diverse group of people, like actual people who exist, or even better, hire them into creative positions of influence. I look at this and I think, now I'm a cynical twit, but I try very hard to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, well, their heads may be firmly up their butts, but their hearts are in the right place. Looking around on the Twitterverse, which is something you should probably never do, most people seem to have the same opinion. It's like, oh, no, guys. No. Guys. No. This is not the way. So, if you look at... hang on a second. Let me pull up a bigger copy for myself so I can actually read it here. If you actually look at this a little bit closer... Now, I have not been trained in the specifics of the diversity space method. But what it appears to do is put me at the very center. So, if you're straight, if you're white, if you're a dude, you get 0 points, I guess, or you're, I guess, normal. Because look at gender identity, for example. We have the guy in the... I don't know any of these characters' names, but you have the guy in the back, number 2, and the short guy up front. They're both apparently dudes, and they're scoring a big fat 0. They're right in the center. The gal with the pink hair is halfway out to gender identity, so I guess she's an NB? Huh. Sexual orientation, well, I guess they're all straight. And I guess the short guy has no culture. I'm not sure how we're categorizing culture. But we can also see that the guy in the back is black, so he has more ethnicity than the other two, who have 0 ethnicity. I'm not sure how ability is. Also, we have a muscular woman and a very muscular but very short dude. They're both scoring high on the body type, while the very physically fit and handsome dude in the back is scoring a 0. So, one of the problematic, not necessarily, racist or sexist or bigoted things, just problematic. Remember, it's not about intentions. It's about what you do. Is this appears again, because, again, I've not been trained in the use of the diversity space method, that the default is straight, white, male, cisgendered, average height, average looks, average builder. If you're going by video games, muscular, athletic build, conventionally attractive. You'll notice that all of them are in the center on sexual orientation. Does that mean that they're all aces? Based on the rest of the chart, probably not. It's probably means they're all straight. The further away you get from the center, the more gay you are. The further away you get from the center, the less cis you are. The further away you get from the center, I guess the darker skinned you are, maybe? And I guess age is like the default is in your 20s, and as you get older, you go out towards the edge. Now, granted, this is only one display of the diversity space method metrics, but this is the one they decided to show. This is the example they put on their blog post and bragged about. So, so Twitter had a field day with this, pointing out that this is problematic, not necessarily indicative of anything nefarious, but again, this is Activision Blizzard and King that we're talking about here, who is a problematic company in and of itself. So cutting the company the benefit of the doubt is something a lot of people aren't particularly inclined to do right now. Lyrically C is like, what the hell with this chart? Yeah, so needless to say, yesterday actually, Activision Blizzard said, we recently shared a blog post that raised questions about how we approach diversity in our games. While the prototype tool has been tested internally, it's not in active use. Our dev teams have always and will continue to drive in-game content. We have updated the post to clarify the purpose of this tool, which is one small component of our broader DE&I efforts, and is not intended to be a replacement for diverse perspectives. We regret any offense that the original post may have caused. Okay. So, so how did they update their post? Well, they added an editor's note, several paragraphs. So, this is what the new version says, and this was posted last night, replacing the original. Torbjorn is straight and has a... Okay, Lucio, Torbjorn, and Zarya. Okay, I'm guessing Zarya is the one with the pink hair, Lucio's the guy on the back, and Torbjorn is the dude in the front. So, alright. Anyway, they say, there's been conversation online recently regarding the diversity space tool, particularly concerning its intent and our commitment to diversity. We've edited the blog post to clarify it's a prototype, not in active game development. We would like to add the following comment for additional context. They showed pictures from both Overwatch 2 and Call of Duty Vanguard. I mean, if it wasn't used for games that were in active development, maybe it's just examples. Yeah, maybe. Started in 2016, the Diversity Space tool, currently in beta, was designed as an optional supplement to the hard work and focus our teams already place on telling diverse stories with diverse characters. But decisions regarding in-game content have been and always will be driven by development teams. The tool was developed at King and has been beta tested by several developers across the company, all of whom have provided valuable input. The objective of using the tool is to uncover unconscious bias by identifying existing norms and representation and acknowledging opportunities for growth and inclusion. It is not a substitute for any other essential effort by our teams in this regard, nor will it alter our company's diversity hiring goals. Over the past several years, the development of the tool was done with the support of our employees, with our employee D&I networks, and we collaborated with external partners to create an even more robust tool. The tool is not meant to be used in isolation. Teams would sit down with the company D&I staff to identify existing norms and then discuss, educate, consult, and collaborate on how a character's representation is expressed beyond those norms. This process is intended to create a conversation where developers, assisted by the tool, challenge assumptions, assess choices, and find opportunities for authentic representation to be fostered in our games. Activision Blizzard is committed to reflecting the diversity of its millions of players around the world through representation and inclusion in its games as well as its employees. Our intent with this blog entry was to share an in-progress piece of our journey in this endeavor. We recognize and respect that all people may be on their own unique point in their journey with DE&I. The Diversity Space tool is not a definitive evaluation of diversity in game content. Rather, it is a bridge in opening previously unspoken conversations into how thoughtful inclusion can happen and thrive in games. Okay. So the rest of the blog post is exactly the same, except for a few notable changes. What was that quote from Kaplan again? Let me look. I would hate for the diversity to ever feel pandering, like we just had this spreadsheet with a bunch of checkboxes. Yeah, that would suck. So what's the difference between the two blog posts other than that intro that I read? Well, they removed all of the pictures. So this picture that I'm showing right now, gone. There are no pictures anymore. The original post has this picture. It has another picture of the tool, which I've stared at it for a while and I'm still kind of laughing at it. Couple of those. And also a picture of Call of Duty Vanguard, which, you know, sold fine, didn't meet expectations, but, you know, also got delayed and came out at a off time of year, and also Activision's going through a lot of stuff. It's very negative word of mouth about it. So let's go through here, and all this is the same, all this is the same. Okay. So, sharing and caring section says, over the past few months, King has let developer teams at Activision and Blizzard beta test. Actually, let me do this. This is what it says now under the sharing and caring section of the blog post. Over the past few months, King has let developer teams at Activision and Blizzard beta test the diversity tool. The diversity space tool, and the results have been immediate and enthusiastic. The plan is to further test the tool internally for preliminary feedback across Activision Blizzard starting this summer. We strongly believe in the tool's potential to change the gaming landscape, says this person, who I forget who it is. I'd have to go back up here, and it is Jacqueline Chomatas, who is the King Globalization Project Manager. Okay, so nice and sweet. That's what it says now. They took an entire paragraph out of this. Here's what it said originally. Over the past few months, King has let developer teams at Activision and Blizzard beta test the diversity space tool, and the results have been immediate and enthusiastic. So far, exactly the same. Here's what they removed. Alanya Cole, DE&I manager at Sledgehammer Games, says the tool was tested by developer teams working on Call of Duty Vanguard, a picture of which they've removed. And it left a sizable impression. Quote, we used the diversity space tool to figure out what more diversity looks like across all of our characters in both campaign multiplayer and live seasons, says Cole. Quote, and now we're going to use that data going forward into the next games that we're working on. The Overwatch 2 team at Blizzard has also had a chance to experiment with the tool, with equally enthusiastic first impressions. Well, that's not the impression I got from what Activision said. They said on Twitter, while the prototype tool has been tested internally, it is not in active use. Huh. I mean, that's what they said on Twitter. And it says at the top of this very blog post, it's not being used in active game development. Odd. Let's read that bit again from this paragraph that they cut out. We used the tool to figure out what more diversity looks like across all of our characters in both campaign multiplayer and live seasons. And now we're going to use that data going forward into the next game that we're working on. Oh my. Someone was caught in a lie. So, were you lying earlier when you said you were using this tool? Or are you lying now when you say you're not using this tool? Anyway, this the new version says the plan is to further test the tool. This is the current version that you can find on the blog post right now. The plan is to further test the tool internally for preliminary feedback across Activision Blizzard starting this summer. What did that originally say? The plan is to release the tool internally across Activision Blizzard starting this summer and into Q3, with an eye towards what Chomatis calls the ultimate goal, making the tool available to the industry as a whole. So they changed, the plan is to further test the tool internally for preliminary feedback. They changed that from the plan is to release the tool with an eye towards making it available to the industry as a whole. So, Activision Blizzard is lying. It's kind of stunning. Activision Blizzard is a very large company, employs a lot of people, and not a single person with any power, at least. Either no one with the power to say so, or no one with the power to say so who was comfortable doing so, looked at the original version of this blog post and went, this is not the way. And that is very sad. So, I mean, maybe they were lying the first time about using the tool for the games that they said they used the tool for, and showed pictures strongly implying that this is how we use the tool for the games that we've used the tool on, and we're going to continue using them, and we're going to make it an industry standard. Maybe that was the lie, and they've since corrected that. Or maybe they paid attention to everyone's reaction and went, yeah, apparently that was not the way, and then edited the blog post and lied about what they said in the first place. But Activision Blizzard King. Guys, the internet is forever. Just because you changed the blog post page doesn't mean a dipshit like me can't go to the Wayback Machine and see what you wrote yesterday. So that was fun. So let's see what my lovely chat is talking about. And Torbjorn is very cultured, by the way. Is there a cultured on here? Let's see. Yes, none of these people have any culture. No damn culture. What does that even mean? How do you get more? Whoops! No. Torbjorn has no culture. It's Lucio. Where is it? Lucio and Zarya have absolutely no. Lucio and Zarya have a little bit of culture. Torbjorn has no damn culture. Or maybe he has normal culture, and Zarya and Lucio have abnormal culture. You know, non-default, standard culture. White culture is probably what they're going. Oh, man. I mean, again, I want to point out that may not actually be what's intended, but man, is that kind of what it looks like. All right, I heard nothing about Call of Duty Vanguard, says Lyrically. See, that game came and went. It did. It also had, they kind of, the campaign was too short. It had problems. It just also, I mean, you know, COVID. You're in the middle of a pandemic. Activision abuses and stresses the hell out of their workers. It's amazing they get anything done. So the game still sold. It just didn't knock it out of the park like Call of Duty usually does. And Activision was like, oh man, well, I blame World War II. World War II but no one wants World War II. Guys, it's your game. You keep doing World War II. So, let's see. Torbjorn. Okay. J has a ya sound. Torbjorn. Okay. Torbjorn. Anne Brie. Hello. The very weird chart. It's a very weird chart. Yeah. And despite what Activision said, I don't know that anyone was genuinely offended. It's just really problematic. And it's just face palming with the information that we're provided. Maybe if we were totally trained on this tool. But I would like to go back to what Jeff Kaplan said. I would hate for diversity to ever feel pandering like we just had this spreadsheet with a bunch of checkboxes. And apparently this thing's been around since 2016, so maybe that's why Kaplan doesn't work there anymore. Let's see. Sometimes Blizzard, says Chicago, sharing is not caring. Yeah. Scrungle made it. All right, hello. Lyrically, somebody needs to be Phoenix Wright because the evidence isn't adding up. Yeah. Activision lying, says Chaos. I'm shocked, I say. Scrungle says, what are we talking about? We're yes, we just finished talking about this thing. I mean, this is not the way. Them trying to do... I don't want to be mad at everything all the time. I have anger problems, so I'm always mad. So I'm really trying to look at this and say, you know what? Maybe their hearts are in the right place. And maybe. Still not the way. All right. How about well-written characters? Yeah, as I said at the top of the show, rather than trying to reduce people down to numbers, a better thing to do, rather than the diversity bingo card, would be to actually talk to diverse groups of people. Interact with diverse groups of people. Hire diverse groups of people into creative positions of authority, and you will just naturally get scenarios and themes and characters and trees that actually reflect the world outside. It's something that just happens. The first longer form story that I wrote, and I would have been in probably high school or something, so 14, 15 years old. I wrote a contemporary fantasy adventure story. And, for a 14 or 15-year-old, it was a pretty lengthy project. A mini novella, it felt like, being like 20 pages long or something like that. And I remember the criticism I got is that no one in the story has any relationships, or there's no romance or sex at all. Like, no one in the story is married, no one has kids, no one's dating anybody. And that was because neither was I. I mean, I did have women in my story. Although, I'll admit, when I wrote this story... Let me think. I'm pretty sure when I wrote the story, while I didn't explicitly say when I wrote it out, that everyone I was picturing in my head was white. Just like me. So I wrote a story which was just my experience. White people who don't date and aren't married and don't have kids. Now, I was aware that other people elsewhere had kids and relationships, but that wasn't my thing. And it was a really eye-opening critique. And it's like, Yeah, just because I'm not dating anybody and I have no interest in, kids and stuff like that, doesn't mean no one else does. So the moral of the story is talk to people. Also get feedback on if you're a solo writer. It's easy to fall into writing what you know, and that's good advice. Write what you know, but also figure out what you don't know and learn it. So Scrungle says you can go to Louisiana and ask about Cajun culture, and someone there will go on and on about their culture. Yeah, people love talking about themselves. Hell, look, this is a podcast where I talk about what I think about stuff. I've been doing it for years. Sometimes I start this show and I have no idea what I'm talking about. I still manage to speak for an hour and a half. Yeah. Writing good stories is hard. And having a diverse cast and diversity is a many splendored thing. But this is probably not the way to do it. That's why they need to hire more diverse people. Yep. Because if you hire a bunch of dudes who look like me, you're going to get a bunch of stories that are pretty close to dudes with characters who look like me and experiences that are close to what we have experienced. Now, we may actually try to write someone else's experience, but we're probably not going to do it as well as someone who's actually experienced those experiences could, which is why you want to hire a diverse group of people. Imagine if you had a barbershop quartet and everyone had my voice. I sing a pretty decent bass, but you need diversity in voices if you're going to have a decent barbershop quartet. You can't have 4 basses, or at least 4 of this bass that can't sing any of the other parts. You need to have a tenor, a baritone, and a lead. You need to have a melody singer. You need to have someone who sings a clear and pretty falsetto. And then you need a baritone. So, yeah. Okay. Let's move on to a different topic. So, which order do I want to do this in? So I've been talking about my cost of living has exceeded my salary and what I'm doing about it. So I'm bolstering my skill set to try and make myself more valuable so I can get more money. And one of the things I've learned in the last, couple weeks is JavaScript. And I am now a certified JavaScript developer. Yay, me. So I decided that I should flex my newly acquired JavaScript muscles. Oh, Indie World? Yeah, I watched it. Nothing really stood out to me, so it's fine. Some things look cute, but I don't know. Nothing really grabbed me. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. Oops, I just took away my, there we go. So I decided to flex my newly acquired JavaScript muscles and write a small little web page. Would you like to see what I came up with my newly found JavaScript skills? Of course you would. Look at the beauty and look at the thing I made. Look, it's got words on a web page. Pretty swank, huh? Okay, so we'll do a little tour. Can you see the mouse? You cannot. Let me capture cursor. Yeah, I have. I don't see the cursor, but you can see the cursor X position and cursor Y position under the radio box on the left. You can see that I'm moving the mouse around, even if it's not showing up on the screen, even though I clearly have the capture cursor box checked. Let me, how about there? Nope, no cursor. I don't know why. Okay, so you'll notice the tab at the very top. No, you can't see the tab. It's out of scope. But the tab at the top says Andrew Eisen Testing Grounds. Got a title. It says Testing Grounds. We've got a button over here that says Emergency Kittens. What do you think that does? What do you think the Emergency Kittens button does? Let's click it. Oh, now I can see the mouse. Emergency Kittens! So it takes you to the Kitten Rescue live cam. Because of course it does. Oh, now I can see the mouse. Okay, so I also wrote a thing that tracks the position of the cursor. Now the big feature here is this this grid of tiles in the center. So when you mouse over it, you get a red highlight around the box, and when you mouse out, like that, and each of the individual tiles highlights when you mouse over them. But that's not all. If you click on a box, it turns a random color. And if you keep clicking, it'll turn other colors. And if you double click it, it gets rid of its color. So, isn't that fun? And if you hover over it, it'll tell you exactly what the hex color value is. Oh, that's not capturing. Trust me, there's a tooltip that when you hover over the box, there's a tooltip that shows you what the hex value is. So one of the things you may actually be noticing is how come there's nothing that's really truly green? Well, it's because I wrote code to exclude green, just to give myself a challenge. So, oh, my head's going to be in the way. Hang on. No. There we go. You can see over, and I lost the mouse. There it is. Okay, so you can see, let me clear this. Here's the original color. It's going, it's green, re-roll. Here's the next color. And it's actually busting them out into RGB. Still green, so re-roll. Ah, okay. Here's one. So basically I'm calculating, so we have RGB. If the G is large, if the green is larger than the red or the blue, it re-rolls. So initial, it's green, and it re-rolls. So isn't that fun? But that's not all. Can you make it flip you off if you click on it too many times? I'd have to add a counter. You know, like if it changes color 5 times, I could like do a window alert or something like that that will say stop clicking me or something like that. I'd have to add function, but yes, I could do that. Now you'll see over here, choose number of rows. We can increase the number of rows or decrease them, and it doesn't save the colors, so we can have a whole big grid of stuff. And also you'll notice I have a clock over here. And the way that this works is kind of interesting. So you can make a date object, and what it is I think the number of milliseconds since 1970. That's just how time works. It's, of course, military, so it should be 1941, so I have some code in there that converts it to standard time, not because I can't deal with military time, but just because it gave me a challenge to do. So I have code in there that changes it to standard time and adds AM or PM, depending on which block of the day we're in. And I have one more little function here. If you press the space bar, you get ugly dark mode. Yep, not just dark mode, ugly dark mode. If you tap the space bar and then turn that off. So that's it. Can I make the clock be relevant to whatever time clock the person is? This is reading the system time. So yes, if you go to this web page, which I can put it in the chat if you want. Let's see. There you go. If you go there, I didn't code it with that functionality in mind, but I imagine it will just show you what your time is. Let me know. But so I got my so that's what I did. I can actually do a thing. Yay. And of course this is dumb, this is useless. And I imagine a lot of you who know how to code are looking at that and going like, how long did that take you? I could do that in literally 30 minutes. It's also really ugly. I'm doing a little CSS to get some things formatted correctly, but like to shunt this over on the right side of the screen. This is just you'll notice nothing lines up. It's just this is a header. This is probably a paragraph. This is a button. This is an input field with selections. This is another paragraph. This is another paragraph. You'll notice they're on different lines. This is the only one that I actually took a long time to figure out the CSS to get these things to wrap correctly. Because what this box here is, what this actually is an unordered list. So it's just every time you click this, it just appends more LIs to the UL, or removes them depending on which direction you're going. So that's what I did. Oh, it does show you. Chicago says, I haven't coded in 20 years. Takes me back to my college. Yeah, I haven't done really any actual coding anything since college myself. I think, yeah, it's been almost 20 years for me, too. But it's like riding a bike, I guess. I picked up JavaScript fairly quickly. It took me, 2-3 weeks? I put this together in 2 evenings. What have I been doing since then? Well, I've been, now that I know I can actually write JavaScript to do stuff, I downloaded the trial version of Test Complete, which is a test automation platform, and I've been futzing around with that. And my plan is to actually write a couple automated tests. What are they called? Test scripts, I guess, to run a test on this web page. So I was encouraged to find out that Smart Bear, I think is the company that does Test Complete, has a bunch of tutorials in the form of modules with quizzes at the end that give you certifications. I'm like, yay. I will blow out my LinkedIn with certifications, believe you me. Do you think I put my JavaScript developer certification on my LinkedIn profile? You bet I did. You bet I did. So I've been, for the last 2 days, I've been playing with the Test Complete stuff. And I was kind of Test Complete as an automation tool is actually really, really neat. I mean, you've seen my React videos. I don't react much, but I was watching an hour-long module, and like 2 or 3 times, I, at least internally, was like, wow, that's really cool. So I went through the modules and I took the quiz, and I was irritated to find that the quiz, the modules did not cover anything on the quiz. Not a thing. Nothing on the quiz was in the modules. And I've taken 7 courses now. And all 7 quizzes had absolutely nothing to do with what was covered in the actual modules. I passed them all, but mainly because I had the documentation open and I just looked up what the answers were, which is not terribly easy because these were weirdly specific questions that are very, very finely granular and hard to find in technical documentation. But I managed to pass all of them, so now I have like 6 certifications in test complete. So I went to take the final module, which is just an hour-long, 44-question test complete 101 exam. And I was wondering, is this going to be a compilation of all the questions that I'd already answered? No, they were all brand new, and not a single thing on that quiz was covered in any of the 7-8 hours of module training I went through. Not a single thing. Now, because I'm familiar with the program now, I could intuit the answer, and I got 75% of the answers. I got 3/4 of the answers right. You need 80%. So I failed, but I was pretty close. And it's weird because I don't know where the hell you were supposed to go to get the answers. I mean, in a pretty close time limit, I managed to look up 3/4 of them correctly. Not too bad. I feel pretty good about myself. But I felt like I'd wasted my time. And they have little feedback forms after each one. I told them exactly what I think. I'm like, imagine you're back in school and you have a test on Friday and you read the chapter and you do all the homework and you study your little buns off. And then you find out that none of the homework, none of the reading material, absolutely none of it covers anything in the quiz. That's really irritating. So this final certification quiz thing that I did not pass feels like use the product professionally for a year. I mean, I don't know if I could answer a similar specific question quiz about the products that I use in my work every day, because they were like really specific. There were questions like, what is the exact path to get to this option? And you know, tools, this. I'm like, I don't know. What's the... And some of the questions were really, really weird. You're going to think I'm making this up. I am not. There was literally one question that was something along the lines of, which is the most popular option to pick for this thing? What was it about? You can, there are a bunch of different methods you can use to test a thing, right? One of the questions, which is the most popular one? Popular according to whom? What does that even mean, popular? How would I know that? That was not mentioned. None of the modules are like, this is the most popular. I don't know. Some of the worst quizzes I have ever seen. Actually, the quizzes would... One of the quizzes was really weird because it was written like it was an advertisement. I mean, almost all the questions were something along the lines of, how would you do this very common and useful thing? And then the answers were, test complete doesn't have the ability to do that. Or you can do this in test complete. You can do this. It's like, can test complete do this useful thing? No, unfortunately not. Yes, of course it can! Exclamation point. I mean, even if you knew nothing about this this app, it's like advertisement copy. It's really easy to figure out. But am I going to take that again? No, because it didn't give me, like... There's no way for me to study for it. I can't remember all 44 questions. I don't remember what the answers... And they were so damn specific. Like, one of them was literally asking what specific method you would use for what object specific method you would use to do a certain thing. I'm like, I don't know. How would I know? That wasn't covered by anything. I mean, again, if you use this product every day and you've been working with it for a year, you probably know. But I don't. So, but I still have like 6 other test complete certifications that I could throw on my LinkedIn anyway. But yeah, so tonight I'm gonna try writing a suite of automated test cases for this little web page, and maybe we'll see if I keep sharpening my skills, if anyone with money will care. So that's what I've been doing. It's been stressful and time consuming, but it's also been fun learning new things and exercising some different skills. So so there are a couple. Let's see, we have a couple minutes here. There are a couple things about this page that are So what mistakes did I make? You might be wondering. It's like, so what did you screw up in the code? Is this green? 575001. Nope. So the red value is 57, the green value is 50, so it's higher. It's kind of an ugly puce, but it's more red than green. This one right here. But we can change that to something else. The clock, I made some mistakes on. Because let me see, what did I do wrong? I have for some reason I was thinking about, I thought about the time wrong. I was thinking about midnight as 24 o'clock. Midnight's not 24 o'clock. Midnight is 0 o'clock. So I had some conditions in there checking for the AM PM thing. So midnight and 12 got futzed around because I had that wrong. Also, I had them in the wrong order. So I had subtracted 12 from the hours before I looked to see if it was AM or PM, so it was always AM because I'd already subtracted 12 out, except for 12 noon. That was PM. I also have, if you pull the minutes or seconds out of the time object, and it's 1 minute past the hour or 3 seconds past the minute, you will just get a single digit. So I have code in there that, if you watch it right now, it says 0001. This 0 right here, it's hard to highlight, but that 0 right there, that is being injected in. So there's basically some code saying if the number is less than 10, then pad it with a 0. So that was a mistake I made, treating midnight as 24 o'clock instead of 0 o'clock. Titty Midnight. Okay. Never heard that before. What else did I do wrong? Oh. You'll notice before I move the mouse that the cursor X and Y positions are blank. And then when I start moving the mouse, they start updating. But initially, they're blank. I would really like the page on load to update with the cursor's current position, but I don't know how to do that. Apparently, according to the window, the mouse position is 0, not undefined, but literally 0, both X and Y, until the mouse actually moves. So I looked for a way to programmatically force a mouse move event so that I could get the updated position, the X and Y position, but I couldn't figure out how to implement. I found some possible methods of doing that, but I couldn't figure out how to implement it properly. Interestingly, I found like the MDM docs and other resources very, very helpful and well documented, but all of the create an event stuff I found lacking in specificity, at least the specificity I would need to implement it correctly. So I left that alone because I spent probably a good 2 hours trying to figure out ways to initialize the mouse X and Y position. And I know there's a way to do it, and I'll figure it out eventually. I would figure it out eventually if I spend enough time on it, but I'm like, I have other things to focus my efforts on than just this one thing, so. I also had planned, so when I wrote up a very quick documentation, forget the actual professional world name for it, but a quick document listing out what features I wanted in my Testing Grounds website, and I got them all, even Ugly Dark Mode, which is called Ugly Dark Mode. The only the feature I thought about putting in there and had started coding and then thought, because I just didn't feel like it was. I thought it would be fun to actually write a browser cookie and have code in there that would, so it would say Andrew's Testing Grounds at the top. So when you come to the page and there's no cookie, it prompts for your name. You put in a name, stores a cookie with your name, and then puts your name on the web page. And then I was essentially going to just have it expire 1 minute later, just to make sure it worked. But I was like, if I show this to anyone else, they're not going to appreciate me putting cookies on their browser, even if they do expire in a minute. So I'm like, I started coding that, and I was like, I don't want to, so I didn't bother. So no cookies on Andrew's Testing Ground. All right, that is our podcast for tonight. Tomorrow for the Sunday stream, we are going to play some Astral Chain, a game that I started almost a year ago, I think. And actually, I believe when I first played, I streamed my first, my initial play of it, and then I got distracted by something. I'm like in chapter 8 or something. I feel like I'm approaching the end, like in the back quarter of the game at least. So I haven't played it in a while, so it's we'll see how I do, because I don't remember the controls. I don't know what's going on in the story. There's a dog mascot in there somewhere, but so that's tomorrow noon Pacific Standard Time. Hope you'll join me for some Astral Chain fun, or maybe it will be an obnoxious, frustrating live stream of me trying to figure out what the controls are. Oh, someone is trying to strike my the final Trails in the Sky SC video because of a song in it. I have no idea if they're actually the copyright owner or not, but they seem to be pretty adamant that I'm violating their copyright because I'm talking over their song 8 hours into a live stream. You know, a song that they were paid, you know, that they licensed for use in the video game that I legally, well, actually, I think Jared or Brian, it might have been Jared who bought it, but it's my legally owned copy of the game. You were already paid for it. This is fair use. So, we'll see what happens. But, and again, I have no idea if this is actually the copyright owner because you do not have to show that you own the copyright, and YouTube does not check. So, who knows if they actually do own the copyright to that song. And it's fair use regardless. But, one of Susan's agents coming for you. Yeah, no doubt. Alright, that's enough out of me. It is dinner time, and then I'm, I guess gonna play with some automated testing stuff. Fun. Alright, have an excellent evening, everyone. Hope to see you tomorrow for some gaming goodness. Take care. Bye-bye.